Okay, okay, okay. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. Chat. Oh, this is a good music to switch to.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Chat. Welcome back. This is so awkward. It was not this awkward the first time.
I'm not in your I'm not in your jam. Can you invite me?
Why are you not in my jam?
I don't know why. I think I got kicked out.
The hell are you doing?
Oh, my bad.
Oh, maybe this shit isn't. Oh, my fault, guys. Hopefully this isn't copyrighted.
It's not.
I don't even know what I'm listening to.
It's yeah, it's the Mantis Lord from Hollow Knight. Also, this is insane. You said this is good news. This is perfect.
Yeah, I know. It was perfect because we switched to this. As soon as I showed the different scene. Oh, I'm barking again. Don't mind me, guys. Sometimes I bark. I'm a cat, but I bark sometimes.
That's true. That's true.
It is real. Barking cat, if you will. It's like a barking spider. If you know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean. I definitely.
Yeah. Anyways, I already did this once. I already introduced myself once, but none of it saved, so we had to do it again. It's really unfortunate.
It is.
Chat? You're probably like, wow, deja vu, been here before. Yeah, because we have, but that's okay. Hi.
Go on.
You didn't say hi back.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Why? My name is Goober. Nice to meet everyone.
Hi, Goober.
And then
Hi,
you.
I'm Keiruem and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Keiruem. Man, the Lord drop just hit with the song.
Don't do drugs, and drink alcohol in moderation. Okay, okay, chat. And Goober.
Don't do drugs. And me, I won't do drugs.
Very good.
Unless prescribed. Then I gotta take.
Prescribed drugs are good for you. Please take your meds.
You take your meds.
This become a PSA. I guess I should also say I'm not actually an alcoholic. I should probably disclose that. I already said that? Oh, mother. Oh, oopsie.
Oh,
okay, well, I'm... Hey, guys. What's up? Why is there two of me on the screen? Insane work.
There's two. I was gonna say, there's two of you.
There's two! What? Who is this lady?
Two. Who is that?
Holy moly. Okay, chat. We've already seen this slide. The only thing that's different is my age. Oops. No one saw that.
No one saw that. It's
no one saw that.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
We're good. Anyways. 22. Shile. Unlabeled. ADHD. I write things sometimes. Not often. I should probably write some more. You know, I was feeling that recently. But now I'm streaming, so we're not writing.
Yeah. Oh. No, I feel it.
Writing stream? Could happen. OC stream? Could happen. If people care enough. But also, I can info dump to an empty chat room anytime.
That'll change in the future.
That's true. And then we could also play some Overwatch because I'm competitive.
Yeah.
Hell
I can't
yeah.
wait to crash out. Oh god.
Live on stream. Crash out.
Live on stream. Lord, please.
Okay. Why does she bark sometimes? It's my dogs. I got a Frank and I got a Nelly. And they yap 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 yap. Yap 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 yap. So then the cat girl, she barks. My fault.
My fault.
My fault. I can't control them.
No, you can't.
Another thing.
It's kind of ironic.
Keyboard. Clack 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 clack. Sorry. Sometimes the cat girl clack 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 clack. It's okay. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very therapeutic.
You like it?
Yeah, it's a good one.
You like that?
You like that?
You like that?
Holy moly. Chad don't get it. Chad doesn't get it.
Chad
doesn't understand.
We'll probably get it one of these days.
One of these days.
Mhm.
Yeah. The catch on.
Mhm. Oh, this is okay, guys. I got a list of games here, but I don't know. I don't know. Here's what we can play if anyone's interested. This is an old list. Didn't want to update the list. There's more now. But this is
so more.
Relatively what we can do. This is kind of updated though. Peak just came out. Peak's on the list.
Peak.
Peak is
Roblox just came out.
Roblox just dropped. Roblox is also on the list.
Gay Pope.
Gay Pope. I might have to share that one with the class. It's a good one.
I need to make a scene for videos.
That's me too. Look, I need VTuber friends. If anyone can hook me up with some more friends, let me know. I already got one, but he's a special friend, so.
Real.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Let's play some Roblox.
Let's play some Roblox. I'm ready.
Let's play some Roblox,
thank you
guys.
Thank you for the little introduction.
Yeah, who are you?
I'm Goobers. special friend.
Special friend.
I'm actually gonna knock.
I want to switch to this scene. And then we hit this button. And then we hit this button. But no one leave. No one leave. I'm switching games. Please stay. Please stay.
God. Please stay, please.
Please stay. What? Wait,
please.
Which Roblox game are you playing? I'm barking again. I'm so sorry. We probably should have chosen. Do you wanna do the running one so we can get the badge? Superstar Racers.
I feel like a badge hunter now. I just like.
Me too. It sounds actually so fun. like actually.
Oh damn! I wanted to knock and stream with you, but I have to. My stupid thing is, okay. Let's play Roblox.
Where is Roblox? Hello. Roblox. There it is. I'm blind. I got it. Hello.
You're already in the game.
I'm already in this hoe. This is very loud for me. I hope it's not too loud on the stream.
It is loud for me too. As much as I like the music,
oh, I forgot the button. No one saw that, right? Everyone saw that. Oh, I did it again. No one's judging me, right? Everyone's chill about it? Everyone's super chill, right?
I had to.
Oh god.
Everyone is super chill.
Oh, okay. Maybe this game's not the best idea because it makes me crash out. I'm turning Roblox down on OBS.
That's true.
Because it's very loud for me. Oh, it's over. Where's Retro Wasteway when you need it? Why does everyone do Surfer's Paradise? I hate that one. What do you mean no one got first place, but we got second and third? Huh?
Where's Roblox? There it is. Big old loud game. There's a shortcut in this game where you can make it to just a 1 minute, high score, and I don't know how to.
Really?
It's so evil. Yeah, it's like you can skip it by going through the, by just going or turning around.
Oh!
It's absolutely super cool.
This low-key sounds like a rhythm game. The music in this one.
Oh yeah, all of Speed Racers are just hype music. Super hype.
Oh! I could have made that, but I killed myself. In the video game. In the video game. In the video game. Everyone saw me die in the video game. Oh my god.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, everyone saw that. And we're not judging.
No! I was so close to getting first. Anyway.
I hate these freaking surfboards so much. The passion, I hate them. Ah! Oh! Oh my god! Hit that. I don't think I've ever gotten this far. Oh my god, I saved it. The greatest of all time, I think.
Skinny?
Skinny! Where am I going? I don't know. I never got this far before. No idea where I'm going. Is this the end? No. Where do I go? Over here. Oh, I can see the end. The end is in sight.
The end is near.
Oh! Hey! I almost completely missed the end platform.
Hey, no worries, but you got that though.
I hit that shit! Yippee!
Really good.
No. You're really good at this game.
No.
Yeah. Wait, this is the game we joined on. Why are we back?
You just see that? I failed.
I did not see that. And no one in chat did either.
I could actually just skip that. Why did I do that?
Nom 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 nom.
Ooh, I'm actually not doing so hot.
Really?
If you ask, yeah.
Where'd the go? Huh? What the hell?
I'm trying to focus on maybe something else.
What are you focusing on?
I'm trying to knock on your door.
Huh?
No! I'm trying to knock on your door.
What does that even mean?
There's like this thing you can do. You can knock. And then co-stream with someone else.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh, I see that now.
Knocked. Yeah, you see?
Oh, okay, hold on. Accept. Oh, shoot. Oh, scheiße. Oh, scheiße.
There we go. Okay. Also, I should probably go into game mode. I have
Gamer mode.
what's gamer mode again? How did I go into gamer mode? There we go.
Oh, you just reminded me that I have my hotkeys on, whatchamacallit? My stream deck. Oh.
You haven't been using your stream deck.
No, I completely forgot about this thing. Okay. Now I've got it.
The jelly.
I've got it pulled up now. Do they work? I don't know. They're not showing up. Oh, that was it. Yeah! I would hit the buttons, but I'm a little bit scared. I'm gonna hit one.
Whoa. Oh.
They don't work. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, they don't work. I think it's because I edited them. Edited them. You know what's up?
I know so. What was the challenge for this?
Slippery. We're slippery. I think I have to rebind my keys because I keep trying to hit shift for dive. Well, that's quite something, not dive.
If it's a muscle memory, then yeah, definitely. It'd just be easier. You can like, you'll be able to hit the stuff easier.
Oh man.
So what's the EP name thing again? I'm just so confused.
The what?
I'm so confused. What's this EP thing?
Oh god, what EP thing?
You gotta be kidding me. 52 seconds? You're joking.
We did it.
I don't know how they caught up to me, but it's so evil.
My second lap is not as fast as my first one. Because I fucked it up. I know that's right. I fucked it up again.
See, I'm super slow. It's so evil.
Nobody's watching, right? Nobody? Good. Don't watch this.
No.
Oh god.
I mean, I have you on mine.
No! I can't. I think it's the music. The music is so intense when you do a second lap.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going into like a battle or something.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Hey, I did it. What song do we have?
Retro Wasteway! No. Chat. We have to sit in the benches. We have to sit in all the benches. Which bench is it? I don't know. You see any benches here? Oh, here's a bench. Not this one. Okay. Oh, I missed the thingy. Anybody else see a bench?
I accidentally screwed up. Nope, I did it again.
What? Where do I go? Oh, build! Oh, I've never did this one before. Oh! Oh, oh! Okay.
There's a bench over here. Was it this bench?
No. Bench here? Not this bench? Anybody see a bench? A bench over here?
Yeah, I saw that bench.
Not this one. Where do I go from here? Where am I?
To the clouds.
The clouds?
Yes.
Oh, I see now.
There's a bench down here. Not this one. Oh, I did it. It's right here.
I'm on my way. Oh my god.
I'm doing the rest of my days on this bench. This is what I call it.
No! I was so close. I'm on my way back.
I'm waiting for you, babe. I don't know where you are.
I hope I make it in time. I see you! Yeah!
Yay! You got the achievement?
Yes.
Sweet.
Well, that's all we needed.
That's literally what.
That's the only reason we played this game today. Is that Ronald McDonald?
I have to go on my. Wait. I have to go on my. I have to log out of this one. Oh, shit.
What are you doing?
Oh, crap. I have to log out of my. Dang, wait, you're in first, babe.
I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed. Oopsie.
Yeah, that happens. You got that. You can still come back.
We're good.
Why is this hour?
Oh, yay! Up two. Bring me back for another.
Round two. Alright. Maybe I should do round two. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing mine really late. I hope I can finish it.
That's what I'm saying. But I believe in you.
Thank you, babe.
Oh my god. Go, 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 go. We hit that shit! Lap 2. What's the time for lap 2? I don't know.
It doesn't tell you. That's the
That's-
sad part. I wish it did.
That's flipped up. Someone, you know what? I'll look in the VOD, and then I'll know.
Me VOD. Me going back to VOD just to make sure.
Chat, how fast was that?
Chat, record. It's like Xbox, Xbox Go Live. Xbox record. Chat, record.
Jarvis, how fast was that?
Jarvis, give me the semantics, whatever.
Oh no, not this one again. Whoa!
Oh no, did you fall off the edge?
No.
No.
Nothing bad happened to me. Look at surfboard.
It says we can share. It says we can share chats too.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I just died. After this, I'll show you.
Mother sucker. I hate this. Person's on a wheelchair and they're doing better on the surfboard than me. Make it make sense!
Make it, Hey, there's benches on this one, too. Make it make sense.
Riddle me this.
Riddle me this, Batman. How about...
Hit that.
You got this. I see you.
Just
You're
the
in front
end?
of me. Yeah. Good job,
Yay!
baby. You did amazing.
I got a badge for that. Oh yay! Oh nice. Jeez.
She's splitting the pole. She's splitting the pole.
I can't look at myself in this game. It's really messed up.
Awaiting response. It says I invited you. I have to wait for you.
What? I accepted.
Did you go into your stream together tab?
Where's that tab at?
It's in the stream.
Oh, I see. Get started. Start shared chat. Shared chat is enabled. Invite guests.
Start shared chat.
Pending. Reasons? No.
It says mine's pending as well. It's saying waiting. You invited Keiruem. Waiting response.
Oh, it's having me log back in. What the heck? Enter the code from my mobile phone.
What's this one?
4.
What do you mean I stopped moving?
It's saying we can't find the page you were looking for.
To stream together?
Wait. Now it's working.
Oh my god, you're in my... Now it's working. What
Join
is
the
this?
call.
Don't join the call.
Oh, I did.
Oh no. Now we're talking double. No, I'm just...
No, we're not. My mic is muted.
My mic is muted too.
Is it good?
Yes.
Is it cooking? Are we cooking?
I think we're cooking.
Okay. Well, as long as we're cooking.
Okay, got it. Share chat. Yada yada yada.
Okay, we're good.
Why does share chat sound like shared custody? It's funny.
Chat, you're going to your dad's this weekend. That's actually kind of a good, like, I don't know. It's a good idea, I guess I should say.
Which part?
Oh, I forgot this just keep moving. Like if one of us can't stream, be like, okay guys, go here.
Yeah,
maybe I'll be here.
I'll be in chat. I like
I'll
it.
be in chat. You know?
You know, I like that. I like the way you think.
I just saw someone get ate by quicksand. I can't hit this freaking crystal. I'm gonna crash.
Don't crash out.
I'm crashing out.
Don't crash out. Don't crash out.
I gotta keep moving. I don't like this map anyway. Okay, well, we'll just die. That's okay. Ooh,
No,
your
I'm not
favorite,
the-
your favorite, your favorite, your favorite, your favorite.
We love the star. Can we?
Woo!
Yeah, can we get the star? Can we get the star?
Please!
Please, please, please.
Please! It's a 50-50. Please, 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 please. Dang. We've already played this one 5 times!
This lobby is really,
Really biased to this one. I'll tell you what.
I tell you what. I tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
We have a. Oh, I beat Elliot. I finally beat Elliot. Good day. Oh my god.
Chat, I'm gonna need you to close your eyes. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. I got it.
Okay.
You can look now. Oh my god. Please don't make fun of me.
There you go. I got the momentum.
Holy schmoly. Maybe my avatar should have cat ears. In Roblox. Because this is not accurate. Oh!
Yeah, but it looks
I
really
got
good,
distracted by the pretty chunks. I mean, yeah, she's cute or whatever, but... Oh,
though. Damn. Not the whatever.
but she's not, like... She doesn't look like me, you know?
My character doesn't look like me either.
Oh, that's... Well, you know, I wasn't thinking about that. Maybe you...
It doesn't
Maybe you
have to
should
be
look like you.
Yes. Like, that's boring. I want to look like what I want to look.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
like
That's true.
Our name on Overwatch is not our.
I mean, mine used to be.
Did you want to change it back?
No, no,
No.
no. I'm just saying. No, it isn't. Yeah! It's you!
It's me.
That's our goober. Maybe I should change my name in Roblox.
It costs money to change.
No, just the display name. That one's free.
That's
Why are we
hard.
here again?
We have to play a different game. This is like getting. It's getting a lot.
Yeah. Go here, go there. Rada, 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 rada.
I love this game to pieces. It's just that I wish there was a lot more maps because I feel like the same maps are played a lot.
Yeah. Everybody's got their favorite speedrunning maps. Chat, did you see my frames drop? No, you didn't. It happens sometimes. But what should we play next? That fakey one? The fakey one?
So, which one?
The fakey one?
I'm sorry. What was that? No, yeah, we should. It looks so cool.
It does look really cool.
How do you? I can never.
What?
Maybe. That's how you do it. You know you don't have to. You know you don't have to be on the button to like. You just have to touch the glass to. It's really janky. Lap 2. Push myself to the limit.
Elliot sent me a friend request.
Elliot sent me a friend request too.
Because we're famous?
I think it's because
Gotta
we're
be.
famous.
Gotta be
Gotta
because
be.
we're streaming. Hey guys, check out the stream.
Hey, check out the stream. Super cool and epic and awesome. Check it out.
Check it out, guys.
I'm cooked. Yeah, cooked.
I'm keeping this glass broken for people because I'm so courteous and kind.
Babe,
Come on, guys.
I don't want to ruin your immersion.
It's just for me, isn't it?
Just for you.
Just for me.
So you're flaky.
My kindness! No! Okay, let's leave. Good work. You win. Oh, and now it's so quiet. Oh goodness. I hate that.
Do you have the music on?
What happened to the music? No, it is playing. I just couldn't hear it.
Wait, it's been on Minecraft. I think it's
Wait.
I think it's broken.
I think it's broken too. I can't hear.
What if I just turn my Spotify off? Turn it back on.
Who broke this?
Do you want me to send you another stream together?
Yes. Stream together. Spotify
I mean,
Jam?
sorry. Ew. Jesus, it's like geeking out or something. Spotify, can you please come back to us? I got mail. Oh, wait. Did I just get a... I think I just got a follow. Wait a minute. Wait. Someone just followed me. Did the alert play? I usually hear it.
Is that what the... You got it. Oh.
Actually, what alert? My alerts are on 4. That's a bad idea. Let's put alerts on 4. No, 5. Yeah,
5.
No, 5. 5, you're right. Sorry. You already had me. You had me clocked. What would I do with Asher? What the heck? Imagine we can invite the whole stream to a Spotify game.
We could. It's a possibility. We could just put link in, like a... What do you call that? Chat command, right?
Yeah. Have it as a chat command and they come in.
Mm-hmm. Listen along. But, you'd probably have to get rid of people's rights to use stuff.
Oh,
That's dangerous. Sorry, chat. No rights for you.
That's insane.
All you can do is write silly little messages. Follow the stream. Subscribe. Donate. Give us bits. That's all you can do. Damba.
No rights for chat.
That's all your rights. So sorry. You know what? No, I'm not sorry.
Sorry.
Not sorry.
At least there's no backpedaling.
And Frank's barking. He agrees.
Okay. Let's go to the weird game.
Frank's being evil, so I grabbed him.
Good.
With us. Whoa, Frank. Whoa, Nelly.
Oh, Nelly.
Whoa, Nelly.
The game looks so different.
What? It does?
On stream versus on my screen. Hope this doesn't chunk the bitrate.
Oh, you're so right.
Is this a bitrate killer game?
Is it?
I'm seeing it's working for me. My game seems fine, actually.
Actually.
Actually. You're wrong. And I'm right. And it's alright. The game is so creepy sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yours looks good.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yours is Who is this lady? Who is that?
Who is that? Come on, let's go.
Oh, okay. What the...
What's the code?
Where are we going? The freaky one?
The freaky one?
Dicky? Freaky dicky?
The swamps of Minecraft? It's all E's.
E.
All E.
I think I want to switch to this for this game. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god.
What? A woman?
We have a follower.
She says hi. Hi.
Okay, maybe we should pause our music.
Yes, I agree.
It seems a little too chipper.
I'm gonna turn Roblox back up so everyone can hear this. Okay, chat, this game's weird.
This game is super weird.
We're just gonna... You kind of just walk around and find stuff. And then you put the pieces together and then you get rare badges, basically.
Yeah, like a puzzle game.
Yeah, it's really just an experience, though. It looks like Minecraft trees. You see this?
You see, and this guy's already over here in the corner.
This guy's... Well, at least his face isn't as freaky as the other people. Is this a fucking... Sorry. Another
no, it's
portal?
not NPC.
This is another portal, guys. Anybody got flint steel?
No flint steel. Wait.
Wait, I gotta turn... Maybe I keep motion sickness on. No, I'll turn it off.
I have that off.
I don't... It makes me want to gag. So...
I think that's what we call motion sickness.
Yeah, so I got rid of it. Oh, look! Goes this way.
I'm following you.
Don't worry. Don't worry, babe. I'm so brave.
You are very brave.
I'm so brave. Here I go.
Visor on me.
Visor on you?
Sorry. Overwatch. Overwatch stuck in my head.
Oh, we should play Overwatch. I love Overwatch.
Yay, Overwatch, yay!
Yay, Overwatch, yay! It doesn't make me crash out or anything. Where the hell are we going?
I don't know.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm gay.
Oh. You're supposed to climb the trees.
What? Is that what that guy's chatting about?
You're supposed to climb the trees. Is this our NPC?
This tree. Which tree? Oh, the fat one. Oh.
That's... It's just big boned. It's big boned.
Big boned. Up there, I think, he says. Well, this is skinny. We can probably get on that. Hop on that tree. Get on that shit. How do you climb this? I think this guy is misleading us.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very lied to on the internet right now. But this looks like you can go through it, but you can't.
Fake.
Fake news.
Door.
It's fake news. It's fake news. You can't actually climb the tree.
I think we gotta look for some clues.
Maybe we can hop on a different tree and then get on top of the trees and then, you know, like in Minecraft when you walk across the top of the trees.
I hear you. I think we got to.
I think we got
Some
it.
of these.
But this is
some
like.
of these trees whisper.
They're whispering to you? That's freaky.
They're saying we go in this direction.
How do you know that?
I don't know. It's like. Okay, we got nothing. There's nothing over there.
There's nothing. Chat.
Playing first person is so fun.
Help! Help! Help us!
Is this what Zelda? I mean, is this what Link felt when he was walking?
I don't get those references, but yeah, that's exactly how he feels.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, I get it. Chat, no, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we came from this way.
I think so.
Right?
Yes. But then again, we can't make this jump if we can't get up there from over there. It's just not possible.
Have you seen what I've been doing?
No. I've
been following the right. I'm right here. Oh, that's not
helpful.
Oh,
hey, I'm right here.
It's insane.
Right,
I followed the right-hand side.
The maze technique.
Yeah, surely we'll get something out of it. I mean, in the middle is a big, giant tall tree. And we can't it looks like there's stairs that, like, can come from it, right?
Stairs?
Yeah, stairs. Man, the music is intense.
Man, I wish there was someone in chat who could tell me what to do.
Hey, chat. What do we do?
Help us. You're the expert on everything, chat.
Chat's the all omnipotent one.
For real.
Maybe these pillars?
I'm allowing backseat gaming.
Backseat
just
gaming
for today.
on.
Just for right now.
Imagine if we said backseat gaming for fucking... Sorry. For backseat gaming for freaking... I'd crash out.
Where did that door go? There was a door on this tree. There it is. There's just no way to get up that. Actually.
Do you think we should try some other combinations?
I want to figure this one out.
Well,
like, okay, even if we got up on a tree around this tree, there's no way to get to that tree. Are you in the middle? Yeah.
Are you still in the middle? I'm coming.
Yeah. I somehow got back here. I don't know. I just walked around. I did.
What? How did I...
Is there anything around here? I think this guy's lying.
Oh, I see you now. Thank God. Okay, so do you see the front of the tree?
Which side's the front?
The one with the door.
Oh, the door. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so it looks like something is supposed to like
the little pedestals.
Jut out.
Yeah.
Right. But my thing is that maybe we need to go to a different like, you know how like we had to go, but it was in the same world. But like maybe we have to go to a different world and open it from there. But the way that we started, this guy's just straight looking at me. There are invisible platforms? Ain't no way, dog. So you're telling me?
No, there's not, bruh. This guy's fibbing. He's just not telling
This guy
the
is giving the false information.
See?
What am
Didn't even make that jump.
He's tripping.
I'm not even banging my head on anything. He's just lying.
Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna go... I'm gonna try to find the door again. The elevator.
Why don't we just
Or
snap
maybe...
back?
Okay, yeah, you're right. We'll just...
What's this pillar, though?
Oh.
You know?
I'm gone.
Oh, you're gone. Oh, jump scare. Lady jump scare. Oh my god, what's up, lady? Oh my god, you're a freak. You see
That's
this
insane.
guy? What the hell? He's got, excuse me, fucking sardines.
Oh my god, I
You
know who
see
that's
this guy?
from. That's from, what's it called? Oni. Purple Oni. Frankie Boy 3000 added me.
Yeah, I got that too.
I'm not accepting any of these people.
No, no, no.
Anyway, I'm back at the elevator.
Okay, what are we inputting?
3 E's.
The 3 E's again? Okay.
Maybe we might be able to... Maybe we might be able to get something. Something crazy.
There's 2 other badges we can find.
Right. That are increasingly harder than the other 2.
But the first one was actually so hard. Just got the fucking puzzle.
That's what I'm saying. So... That... We already went that way.
What are we missing?
Does this
Jet
portal
to
have to do with
holiday.
anything?
See? We need a flint and steel. Flint
You think
and steel.
Maybe we haven't really tried any other combination in the elevator, right? We should try that.
What if we do 3 A's? Ah!
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 Ah! Oh god.
Ah! Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to be there yet. I think we're missing.
That dude was absolutely tripping.
Ah!
He's like, invisible, climb tree, climb tree. He was off the goop or something.
He's not the good.
Please don't send me back to the same place. Oh, 3 A's is the... Babe,
Lobby. What the heck?
babe, 3 A's is the lobby. It says it on the left.
Oh wait, that's so real.
What?
Sorry, I forgot.
I was like, huh, why are we here? Oh my god, I remember. Okay, let's do 3 B's.
B.
I don't think it liked that.
Oh.
The music stopped. I got chills.
Chills.
Oh. Alright, you know what?
Man.
We remember over here? Oh wait, what if like maybe there might be a puzzle through the stars?
I think so actually, because one of the badges was something about the stars.
I'm looking
Holy
through
shoot.
all...
Hey, thanks for following. Please stick around. That was so loud it scared the hell out of me.
What was it? Who
Someone followed. I don't know how to pronounce
yeah.
that name, but thank you. If you know how to do any of these freaking badges, please let me know.
Okay, well, that's definitely...
I'm just looking around and clicking because maybe it'll do something.
Maybe... I was thinking it would do something, but for me, it didn't do...
It's not really doing anything.
Not doing anything.
Oh. I thought that was you when you lost your brim. I was so scared. Just like, oh no.
No. I was like, what?
Okay, let's go down here again.
Yeah, let's go.
Because there was something down here.
Wait, before I go down there, I'm gonna check up here.
The maze, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we go to the green maze, and then I don't clip through the wall. Don't clip through the wall, or you'll get punished.
You'll lose your badge. Then we'll have to do the puzzle all over again.
And I would crash out.
Day ruined.
Day ruined. What happened to her?
What?
Twitch just got rid of our shared chat.
Really? Mine's still on.
Maybe it's my thing's not working.
Oh. They said, Yo came here to say, I think Daisy's stream isn't working.
My stream isn't working? That's my name, Daisy. Yeah, my old name.
I was like, I don't know Daisy, I know MF Goober.
My stream isn't working? Did you go on my stream to...
Let me check. I'm looking on my phone. Oh, goodness. Following. It says we're in a shared stream.
Oh, sorry. I hope that didn't play. It pops up unexpected error for me. Really?
It's working on my phone.
It's working on my phone too.
So I think it might be a you error, buddy. I'm sorry.
Skull. No, Skull. Nah. This is Skull on the roll.
Oh, that's the name. Okay. I can pronounce that. Skull.
Why does it come up with an error for me? On my screen, shared viewers. Okay, now it's back. That thing is.
Yeah, it's kind of busted. You have to find the sweet spot. Ooh,
Skull, this is my partner. Keiruem.
Keiruem. Hi.
How have you been? Oh god. Should we do the right hand thing?
I think that's how we got to the end last time.
I think so too, but do you think there's any other thing here?
I don't know.
Because, like, I found it. I feel like we should just check around just to make sure.
Okay. Right? Well, I guess that forces you to stay in my stream.
Yeah.
I'm stuck here forever now.
Hey, but you still pop up on my stream, Skull.
Yeah, it's shared chat. This is weird.
Are we still like... Where did you go?
I'm walking along these statues. I was seeing if I could push one. What?
On my screen. I didn't see you anymore. I'm going to go back to the hole.
The hole.
The hole.
The claw. I think the hole's over here. Oh.
The claw.
The claw. It's over here. Did you jump?
No.
Are you here?
All of it's tippy topsy turny, and I'm barely up here.
Okay.
I know that maze with the bell has to be something.
It's gotta do something. I hate how it's like. I feel like I'm metallic right now.
This is what italic must feel like.
This is what italic letters feel like, huh?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm just like...
Door. Is there anything else down there? I don't think so.
Wait. I'm gonna go... Maybe I should go down there to check?
I looked down with my camera.
Okay. Oh, the door. The door!
Okay, what if we go left this time?
You're ahead of me, so I don't know. I guess, I'll...
If you stick to the left, you'll find me.
I've been sticking to the left. I don't see you. I see you.
Hey.
Hey.
Nope.
Hey, Skull, send me the screenshot of the error by the gate cap. Certain parts of the place of United States of Smash. If anyone gets the reference.
Oh, they fixed it.
They fixed it?
They got it to work.
Wait. Welcome to the crew, man.
Welcome, welcome.
We're playing Roblox. I don't know what this game is about. I'm actually getting dizzy from hitting all of these corners. And
For real.
the statistics of not finding the exit is actually pretty low when you use left corners. Scientists be damned.
Scientists be damned.
Oh God, I mean, for some reason, scientists just be like, yeah, if you stick to the left, it's stupid, and we did the numbers.
We crunched the numbers and
Like,
this
why would
is
you
what
do
we
that to
found
numbers?
out.
Like, why would you crunch them? Like, that's like rude and like really mean and not thoughtful.
Oh, we found it.
We found it again.
Again, going a different route. But there's just nothing here. We're missing something, methinks. What is it? I don't know.
See, but it's evil. If you think about it, it's evil. Something evil is here.
It's you.
I'm not evil.
Yes, you are.
I might be a little bit.
I think we'll wait for this thing to get to the top. But that's... You got that Subway Surfers video, right?
Should I put the Subway Surfer video on?
Put the Subway Surfers on. So we wait for this thing to reach the top.
Alright guys, we're watching Subway Surfer until the bell drops. Is this what happens when 4th of July happens? Like,
yeah. Oh, no,
4th
no,
of
no.
July happens?
No, not 4th of July. That's the
Wait,
New Year.
sorry.
The New Year.
New Year.
For New Year's.
Oh my days. Who thought of that? What the heck? I got the magnet, guys. I got the magnet. Oh, sweet. Whoa.
The magnet?
Getting the coins. Yeah, the magnet.
Oh, you're playing Subway Surfer. That's right. Sorry, I forgot.
Do you think if we hear the bell? What? Yeah.
You said magnet and I thought dig.
Oh, heck nah. We can play dig too.
You guys want to play dig?
You guys want to join us for dig? It's this addicting game about digging. Think about it. It's really fun.
It is really fun.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna get the O. I'm getting the O. Sweet, sweet. I got the O, guys.
Nice.
Oh my god.
You hit that?
I hit that. I got the super shoot. I got the super boots on.
Nice.
I got the boots.
Those are good.
I think the retention span is going high.
So working.
Yeah.
Nobody leave.
Nobody.
It's almost there. It's almost there. It's almost at the top. Everyone, stick around.
Everyone?
We're about to figure out what happened.
I
Did we all die?
I hope not. I've seen what happened. I'm not gonna.
You already know what happened? What the hell? Is it nothing?
Yeah. I'm gonna stand under it. Sweet relief.
Ding. It just goes again? What?
Yes.
Oh no. What's even
Well, the thing
point?
is, I don't know. Something about this doesn't seem right. Like,
well, none of this seems right.
Maybe we need to find more. Maybe we should click back. I don't feel like going back through this maze. I'm gonna tweak out.
Snap back.
Snap back to reality. Okay, let's see if there's any other.
Here we go.
All right, let's see the combinations. Combination.
Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Do you see like the C?
Yeah.
I'm doing all C's.
Okay.
Backward C's.
Excuse me.
Type shit. No! And this dude is here!
This idiot.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Get out.
What's going on?
Get out of here. You two again. Alright, we're cooking him.
We can't.
We already did. Wait, do you see that?
The steps? Yeah. I have no idea how to get there.
Wait. Let's go back.
You want to snap?
I don't know.
Next
I don't know if
time
that
we
guy's.
gotta snap back. He doesn't know.
He's
He's like, you need a key for this. No, you don't. It's something else. It's a little orb thingy. It's not even
what was it? A B E.
A B E.
God, my head.
Ugh!
Oh, I hit my head. I hit the head. Oh. Back at it again.
Purple clip.
Okay. So.
You want to get the thingy?
We're gonna get the thingy, and we're gonna try to go on the out.
I don't know how to get up there. But we'll look.
I think we have to phase through a wall. Like, let's go get the key.
Hell yeah. I love phasing through walls.
I get scared sometimes. Also, can we jump to this like a Mario painting?
No, I tried.
You already had the same idea.
Yeah, I tried that. I tried clicking on it too. Didn't do anything.
Wait.
What?
Maybe if we click some of the plants, we can open that door on the back. Cause you see that door over there?
Door over
in the
where?
kitchen.
In the kitchen. Yes.
Can we go through it? No. What's in the fridge?
Nothing.
Alright, let's just go get the key then, I guess. Me guesses.
Me guesses.
The transitions are so fire.
So fire.
No, don't jump! No!
Oh, no! My bad.
No, it's Alright.
Up we get.
If someone saw this gameplay, I wondered like what is their first immediate thought? Cause I would start tweaking.
No, yeah, this is. Oh, it's to this way. And this way. 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 Sorry.
I'm joking.
This way.
Like, oh, got your ankles.
This way. And bam.
Alright. Snap.
Snap back.
Back me.
And then we do.
Where are we going again? Oh yeah.
Isn't it Noi?
Noi.
I remember Noi working.
Yeah.
Noi is my
works.
favorite. Me Noi.
Noi.
Guys, did I click this off? Or is it clicked right now? I don't know. I think that's off.
The music?
No, that's snap.
What's that?
The snapback.
Oh, yeah, don't click it.
And when it's clicked, is it white? And when it's unclicked, it's translucent?
Yes.
Okay, good. Guys, I always fail the first freaking jump for this.
Well, wait. I'm trying to see if
I'm trying to see if it's up because it's pretty high up.
It is?
The staircase, yeah. Yes, I think. Wait.
I'm trying to feel.
I'm glitching through the wall. And
where?
Up here, and it's kind of working. I can kind of see the thingy here.
I'm right here.
Mhm. Because it's like right out here.
Okay, falling down right there is not helping. Wait. I have an idea.
Wait. Please wait. What?
Please wait. Welcome to the holiday.
Jet 2 holiday.
Oh. Why?
This might be a little too high.
Oh.
I can't get my
Wait.
camera any higher.
Wait.
Where are
We
you?
fall through the we fall through the blocks, right? Like if we go to the blue room, we fall and we go back here. What if one of those falls allowed us to go on the outside instead of inside?
No, I don't know. Cause like if you stand out here and look, where are you? Come here.
Oh, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Pepsi.
Pep.
Pepsi. Is he over here? You can see in there.
You went to that.
Loki. You see?
Yeah, but like maybe we can clip through the little chute.
I don't think so.
It has to be connected to this level.
Stack.
Like, well, the thing is, like, the only things that are connected to this level is the tree level, which we fully explored, right? So there's no other. Did we fully explore the tree level?
I think so. There's nothing there. Except for that little nook.
Nook area.
I wonder if there's anyone suffering with that puzzle right now. Really curious.
That's what I'm saying.
I think we go up. And then we try to get out from up here.
I just hit my head.
Oh.
I hit my head and now I'm trans.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know you looked everywhere here, and all of them are.
Okay, this one's a fall if we walk far enough. If you want to try your thing.
Where?
Here.
Where?
Skip.
You said it's invisible floor.
There.
Oh.
There. I don't think. No, they're not connected because of the loading screen. So I don't know. You have to be able to get up there from in this viney place.
Oh.
Like how? I don't know.
And someone's suffering on this little puzzle right here too. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, someone's suffering, but I'm gonna
I kind of want to help them. Oh!
We gotta. What?
I snapped back. Guys, I had it selected the entire time. My fault. Okay, we'll get back.
Well, wait. Let's try some other words. Other words.
I kind of want to type boy.
B-O-Y.
B-O-Y.
O with the line in it or O with the fruit?
The line in it.
Alright, boy. We got Noi, we got boy, we got so many things to discover. Oh, we're back. We're back at the trees.
Oh god, not the swamp. Oh no, this is down. Oh.
Maybe oi?
Oi?
Oi? A-O-Y?
Oh, with the line through it?
Yes.
Dong!
We're back at this stupid blue place. Purple cliff. Can't fall off the edge. We know that there's... we go down there. We go to the maze. But the maze doesn't do anything. We went to the ice area. And the ice area is completely ice. and we fall off to get to a different floor.
See any other places? Holy moly.
The thing is, the only place I know of that we went to is that tree area, but it's so hard to do anything. Like, that tree area is like...
There's gotta be another area.
There has to be another area.
Let's do... sea, fruit, and...
Con.
Con.
Sean!
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 Sean! Here we are again.
Maybe knock in OC. What's
An
it first?
OC? And fruit C?
In fruit C. In fruit C.
And fruit C.
In fruit C. Because maybe that might actually get us somewhere. So maybe lead us... I hope it's not to the swamp area. It's back here again.
We're here again.
Why are you looking at us, dog? Like, we did something.
Do you want help with the puzzle? Done it 3 times now.
3 times.
3 times.
Okay, so we know that elevator instruction. Input 3 digits, get transported. Okay. Is there anything in the elevator that's telling us that we need to maybe be in fruit?
Baby, no money.
Baby. Wait, did I say be in O or be in fruit or be in
fruit.
BY?
Be in fruit. Be in fruit. Another sucker, dude.
Yeah, maybe you can check.
You wanna explore this one?
Yeah. I feel like we're missing something. Cause what if this tree map is connected to the other tree map?
Wait, you're cooking, cause like, remember that?
Right, where you know where the
where's the big tree at? Yeah. Will that be like
that?
Wait! This looks like the big tree. This pillar in the middle. You know?
Right. Is there anything we can like slide our bodies against and push a hidden button? Can we activate any signals? That's a dead end. I think we've been over here before.
I just wanted to see the other side of the tree here. Not really doing much for us, huh?
I love that this game has so many mysteries in it. I don't know how to complete any of them. Except the one that we did on our own. I was like pretty chill. Except that one girl who helped us. Kind of sad.
Yeah. But I think we would have figured it out because, as I was trying to tell you, once you like hit like one on and then you turn it off, you can't turn it back on again if it's the right one.
Over here, babe. Okay.
So I was checking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The music in this is really cool.
It's really heavy.
There's nothing. Nothing.
That's a really good recreation of the music. You should get into making music.
Should I?
I actually want to just see how creative with music you can do. Hear you on a guitar or a flute. You hear me on a trumpet or a saxophone. Or a bass.
I made the piano music before.
Is that wait, do you see that?
Not knowing how to play actually. What?
I thought that was a symbol or something that you
Oh.
I'm just looking at.
No.
I'm just like
It's just the texture.
straight geeking out now. You're tripping. You're tripping.
It's a tripping. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else here for us.
I'm gonna snap back. I can't be bothered to keep. What if we snap inside here? What does that do? You can't snap in here.
Look at that.
Also, did you see that cat?
Yeah. I zoomed in on him.
There's some interesting fellows here.
For real. They're usually like terrifying looking.
Yeah, that cat was wholesome.
That cat was
Cat
cute.
army. Now we need to do is maybe all in.
Okay. All in.
Put it on red. Put it on red.
Put it on red. Where are we?
Where are you?
Where are you?
God, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off.
It's telling us to complete the puzzle for the poor folks. Let's see if there's anyone there. Just because I'm curious. I've played these games before.
I've played these games before.
I've played these games before.
Is it like telling me to slide through it? What is it telling me to do?
Whoa, I've never actually looked up here before. Babes.
Right.
Look up.
Yeah, there's like pillars.
There's pillars up there.
Yeah, like we can like get up there somehow.
I wish I knew. Oh, it's just one poor guy here. Wait, he's close.
Yeah.
Wait, you've got that.
You seek the truth. Give yourself answers.
You gonna answer me? I think you said it, babe. The numbers mean nothing. Few minutes. Okay. Okay, slay.
PTSD.
No, for real. Okay. Where do we go next?
Like
You
this is a
both
dead
of
end,
us.
right?
Yeah. Slam against the walls.
But I don't get it. What? Nothing's over there.
Mm-mm. This one has the pit. Wait! Next back.
This game is so interesting. It's like I
It's
need
so
to finish
strange.
it, but how do we finish it?
What's this one?
Bear us fruit, please.
What's the beginning?
All right, you know what? I have an idea.
What's that?
It's a little tricky. It might be hard.
And what's up with this blue stripe on the floor? What does that mean? It's just design choice?
Wait a minute.
What's up?
The blue strip is in the same angle as that. Is that the door? But I don't know if that meant anything.
I don't know. The door means absolutely nothing to me. Oh. Hey.
Yeah. Again.
I tried to glitch out.
Why?
Didn't work. Didn't.
Yeah, I bounced off everything I could have. It's just, I don't...
How do we get to there? I wish I knew.
Okay, we have to go. We have to now go to the tree dimension.
Back to the swamp?
I forgot. Yeah.
Swamp.
I think it was all eat.
E.
I remember correctly?
E. E. Hell yeah. See if this guy is still here.
Probably is tweaking out.
There's invisible platforms.
There's incredible platforms, I swear. Get out of my room, I'm playing Minecraft. The stoicness.
Look how dark it is. It's shit.
Can't see anything, to be honest.
Where am I? Who am I?
Where are you?
What's going on? What's going on? Dun, 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 dun.
We gotta always... I wonder how old is Crazy Frog? Holy moly.
I don't know. Older than the hills, methinks.
Yeah, and then I have I.
For a second, I thought this tree didn't have a
The
stem.
tree in the wall.
Why is it in the wall? Why are you blue?
Can I eat some of the petals?
Nom 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 nom. Where am I?
Where is anything? Somebody please
Chat.
tell me.
Where do I go?
Chat.
Oh, I found
Chat,
it.
what's the answer?
Big tree. How to
The
get in
tree-
this bitch? I don't know. I don't know. Can we click on anything? Clicky clicky, clicky clicky clicky. Nope. Can I click
Wait.
on these?
No.
What?
Oh my god! Come here.
What? Where is here?
Look up.
What the hell? Invisible platform! How did you do that?
I just started like sliding against the wall.
Oh wait!
Oh! It's in here, it's in here!
Oh my god, he wasn't lying! Oh!
I can't wait to clip that! I can't wait to go back through stream.
Oh
I
my
can't wait.
goodness.
What?
Where are we? How did we get on the moon?
No, I feel so bad. He's a like this is how like he's crazy. What are you talking about? And then next thing you know it.
He's like, there's invisible platform. Invisible platforms, my ass. There actually is invisible platforms, huh?
Where did you go? Where did you go?
I'm just walking through these things.
Well, I think it's teleporting. I don't know where you go.
Nah.
Oh.
I'm right here.
I didn't want to lose sight.
It's just moon fog. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, okay.
I'm a little bit scared. There's the edge. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go.
I won't. Oh. Cool shirt.
What?
Test 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you found the dev again.
I feel so Sigma.
I feel so Sigma.
Is that how we get the badge?
Where's the badge?
We didn't get the badge.
There is no badge this time. You see the little face on the wall? It's so cute.
What face on the wall?
In here? Over here?
You're coming back.
Hello? Hello?
I'm coming back.
Here? Here? You see him? Here?
Where?
Right here?
I
You
see
see
it
him?
now.
He's cute.
Yeah, all the other faces I've been seeing are very traumatized.
Dev, give us a thingy.
Give us the badge we've been looking for. Maybe we have to fall off the edge.
Where was there a loading screen or nah? Will
There was no loading screen. We just came up.
Yeah, okay, let's. We can't.
Well, no,
we can't jump. We can't jump. We can't jump.
I can't. I feel so sick.
I feel so Sigma and.
Don't tell me there's not anything here. I know there has to be something here.
How many houses are there? 4?
There's a lot of houses here.
5? Gamers, don't look up. Make sure to look up.
Gamers, do not look.
Who's Gaspered Augie? Does that mean anything to anyone?
Chat, figure out who Gasper Aki is, please.
Gotta whip out my cellular device for this.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Hello. Oh, yeah, the blue guy, I never clicked him. That's what you... When you said, I feel so Sigma, I was like, when you were talking to the blue guy, I was like, huh. Thought that was just, Sigma Soul type reference.
I'm a Sigma Soul. Okay, he's a French musician and graphic designer.
Oh, so this game is made by French!
Yes. But I don't feel like he's ever said I feel so Sigma. Because he's 46 years old.
You never know. It could be the start. It could be a start of a new something. Test 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, I almost accidentally almost clicked my hands. I had to go. Wait, babe, on the outside there was a door though. We didn't go on the outside.
I'm back down. Oh.
Wait for me.
Oh. What's on my screen? What's going on? What's going on? Oh. I'm back at the lobby. Don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But it didn't kick me. It did not kick me. What was the... E. Maybe the portal's open? I fell. The elevator dropped. I'm gonna check the port.
Check the portal while you come back.
Button steel. Nope.
And steel.
I think I maybe just fell through the world and it teleported me back to the lobby instead of kicking me. Which I appreciate. That also means I have to find the big ass tree back, and that's difficult. Because I am challenged directionally.
How much, honey? What's... So I go up here. It's just... That's the inside of the tree. And you said that... And the portal isn't activated?
Uh-uh. Oh, I found the tree.
There's nothing really...
Oh!
Oh, wait. I found... Wait. There was something I could climb on. Okay.
Oh, look at that. Look at the
Was there
height
more?
on that. Yeah.
Was it on the right or left?
See? There.
Right. Oh. No, I fell. Something... I'm hitting my head on something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then that's where you slip.
Okay. I want to keep...
See? Here. And then you hit your head and then you fall.
No, I turned my character just a slight bit and then I fell.
How do you do this? Oh!
No, I just fall back. So there is something more to that.
Mm-hmm. Go this way? No. I wish we could see it! I wish I could see what I'm doing! Where to go? Maybe it's out? Oh my god!
Wait. I'm coming.
God. Where do we go?
Wait, you stay right there. I'll just... Okay, I fell.
Maybe it's out and then up. Yeah! Then I'm hitting my head again. Out. Up. Right, left? I don't know. I'm scared. I don't want them to forget. Oh, you're up.
You mean out and up? What? How did you do that?
You're here. Oh. Oh. Okay, you're here. You fell?
But I keep falling when I turn my model. Just so slightly.
Don't turn it. Don't.
Are you in first person?
No.
Okay. That's my issue.
Yep. Now where?
Hitting your head when you do that.
I already forgot how to get up. I was up for so long. That's out and up. And you can walk this way. Walk this way! Wait, I'm running into something. The helly?
No.
I'm sorry.
You're
Walk
good.
out? Nope, can't walk out. Oops. I might change stream title to figuring out.
Figuring this out.
We are so back. Roblox Exoda. There we go. Ooh. Oh. I feel like that was just a slow fall. Oh!
It is. You need it. Uh-oh. Don't crash. Don't crash. Don't do that.
No. I'm just spamming spacebar. Oh. Maybe we gotta hit a sick, nasty jump around the corner. But you bang your head. Nope, okay. But maybe there's no fault in trying that. Is there any invisible steps on this side? No.
But I don't know what I'm falling against. It's making me like I mean, sorry for no commentary.
You're crashing out. We gotta be entertaining, babe.
Okay.
Be entertaining. Viewer attention. Pull up the subway
Viewer
suffers, what you
attention.
think.
Subway suffer. It's like, what?
Like, I'm trying to figure out the thickness of these steps. They're not very thick at all.
No.
There's literally no way to freaking know. Please!
Oh.
Make
There's
progress!
something over there.
Over
There's
here?
something over here.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like the same. On both sides. What is going on? Help me! Okay. Can I go out? I kind of can. Where'd you go?
I'm just in front of this door. Bouncing. See if I can find any steps.
Bouncing on it?
No. I don't think I'm bouncing on it. I can't even get to the door. That's how. No, don't fall. It's like it's so sensitive. It's like. No, just please.
Please, get me up. Where are we even trying to go? Wait, let me remember. It's over here. Wait. It's literally, this is literally telling us what the map is on the other side. There's nothing over here.
It's just telling us there's invisible steps. And that's
yes,
it.
this is literally just reflecting what's on the other side, telling us how to get in that door.
So you're telling me we've been doing this all for nothing?
Yes.
I'm back in the white space of games and whatnot.
Okay.
I found the dev, but I just don't get it.
Guys, I was trying to zoom all the way in, but it didn't work.
I'm gonna go to my Roblox profile account to see if we got the sticker, the badge. We in fact did not get the badge, but we still have the sit in a Pacific bench and a retro.
Nice.
Alright, guys. Whoever finds it gets $1.
$1.
What are we supposed to do? What is it, game? What do you want from us?
I don't know. Where else can we go? Where else was there? Let's think. The maze?
The maze with the bell.
I don't know what the hell is in the maze. I don't get it.
Oh yeah.
What?
What if we just looked up clues?
Maybe Google it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look up we're not gonna cheat it, not the chi word. Not the
L word?
lesbian.
No.
Oh. Yeah, we're lost. Exodius, Roblox, hints. Search near bush rocks or some cases hanging from the trees. What? Tower of impending doom. So 841 is formations. Where we found swamp. So do the little click thing. Click away.
Snap back?
Snap back.
Where are we going?
Do zero fruit.
Zero
fruit A. Zero fruit A.
Fruit A.
All right, let's see what's it. Oh, stupid fly! I'll kill you. Anyway, let's see what's happening.
Let's see what's popping.
Oh my god.
Oh.
These don't seem. Hey, look, rock, 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 more rocks.
Rocks. Wait. This is kind of. They don't love you like I love you. Wait. It reminds me of the path from the Vine one.
The Vine from Peak?
No. The Vine World.
Vine World? It does. Where are you? Did you just run off? What the heck?
I do that. That's what I do.
Why don't you just wait for me sometime? What the hell?
Hey, there's nothing here.
So we're in a rock world with nothing.
Nothing over there.
Rock on. Well, I'm gonna see what this water does.
Alright.
Oh, nothing.
You can walk on it?
I'm in the water.
You're swimming?
Water.
Please help me.
You know where the bridge is?
Yeah.
You know, over here. You have to just get in the water.
Is it warm? Did you pee in it?
Did I peek in it?
No. Did you pee in it?
Oh, pee? No. Is that allowed?
No.
No pee in the water, guys.
Don't pee in the water.
Yeah. I can't wait to play horror games with you. This is gonna be so much.
Oh. There's an invisible border? Please help me?
What? Where'd you go? Was there an invisible wall for you?
Yeah.
I did a 360 and I'm very... I did a 360. Oh, invisible wall. I hit the wall.
Me too.
Maybe we get the flint and steel from here.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, I found it. A little doorway.
What?
On the cliff hill.
Oh! I'm here.
Where are you? Oh, hey. Alright, let's get it.
Oh.
Oh!
Flint and steel!
Ah, yes. Flint and steel. Blue.
Oh! DVD! Hit the corner!
Do you have to wait until it hits the corner?
That'd be insane.
Well,
hit the corner.
We have nothing else to do except I don't want to trust that water. Oh, it's gonna hit the corner for sure.
No, it's not. That is not lined up.
Oh. I think the world explodes when it hits the corner. While you watch that, I'm gonna go. Is this all? Can we fall off? We can fall off. I repeat, we can fall off. Don't off.
Do not fall off.
You fell off, bro.
I found a pathway. I'm walking across the path wall.
I see.
I want to go upper, but also there's so much to explore. This feels like a fever dream.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone was on acid and said, yeah, let me make this real quick.
That's probably what they did.
It's like LSD simulated.
No, for real. Anyone in chat be on LSD before? Can you confirm?
Is this what LSD feel like, chat?
Skull, are you still here? Do you know?
Yeah, Skull. I don't think Skull has been on it. I hope that'd be an interesting story if you tell it.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm up here, by the way, but
I'm upper too.
nothing up here. And I feel like I want to jump on the pillar. Was there something over there?
Nope.
There's a pillar over here that I want to kind of jump. So I'm gonna Hail Mary it.
Hey, good luck. Why do you want to jump on that?
Cool thumbnail.
Cool thumbnail? Oh!
Oh!
I
Thank
lived.
God you did not. Alright, let's go over
Those
here.
were people!
What? Ain't no way. Quagmire? Dude, where did they come from?
What the hell is this?
I wouldn't touch the liquid. Not yet, at least.
I want to.
If you do it, you might teleport. That's what, Can we jump into it?
Kinda.
No.
I'm kinda tweaking when I jump into it. Where'd they all go?
I'm gonna check over here real quick, and then if we can't find anything, I think the wall. That's a dead end. That's also a dead end. Babe, the water's calm.
Okay. Because those guys all disappeared.
We went everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Did we went downstairs. Did you check everything down
Downstairs?
Yeah, down here.
Yeah. I'll go again. Here we go. Once again.
Ooh,
Is there anything
did we
over
go
here?
left? Anything left?
Nothing.
Dear Lord. And you already checked, right?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I guess we need to take a swim.
Yay!
I feel like something's gonna be good for us. It's gonna be great for us.
I hope so.
And that was the other side over there. You already yeah.
Oh, it was so close.
I'm telling you, I feel like we get something from it when it hits the corner. Because when you said it hit the corner, maybe it's a. Oh, that felt
looked promising.
That felt like corner. Imagine me making a YouTube video about that. Like,
oh! That had to be it.
Oh, that's people. Jesus Christ, that scared me. Y'all come here?
Come here often? We're misleading them into actually making them think this is something.
Yeah, I think that's kind of funny though.
See ya. Okay, I'm going in the freaking water.
Wait, I'm coming too. Wait. 3, 2. Oh.
Oh, it's nothing. We're just going for a little swim.
So is this truly nothing? Truly? Have you been you that connects to the right path, right? Those trees over there?
Yeah, you were over there.
Yeah. Hey-ya!
Oh. Wait. Okay.
No.
Where does it take us? Oh, not here again.
I'm snapping our finger again. All right. On the next numbers, make sure to unsnap it. Our next numbers is 26286. So B0C.
Boom.
Someone said I solved all of the puzzles. I will not be sharing. Also, wait, what's the free unknown?
Free unknown is the vines.
The vines?
The
With
vines.
the swamp?
No, the vines in the air. And then you walk forward and you have to do the little parkour. And then when you do the parkour, you get up to the blue area. That vines.
So 5. So 3C fruit. We've already been here?
What is it?
Exodia Google Doc.
Google Doc. Holy moly. Did we see everything?
I'm thinking we did.
Then what the hell are we missing?
Exodia wiki page? There's a wiki page. Worlds.
Did we do 000?
Yeah, I think we did, but I'm gonna do it again too. With you. So we have lobby, purple cliff, swamp, free unknown, janitor's closet. That's the place we haven't went to. Oh, we just got here. Jesus Christ, the janitor.
Oh.
Alright.
We hit that. This is it.
Really? Nothing else? Janitor's closet? Come on, guys.
Okay, well.
What about the swamp area?
We were already there.
Jesus Christ. Swamp. Yeah. Moon outpost. Bunch of strange. That's pretty much it. CTC. There. Always. Free unknown. Worlds. Purple cliff. Blue stairs. You can get to the blue stairs from Purple Cliff. What? It says spoilers. Purple Cliff. We have to look at something about the star. Rocky Maze. And then Courtyard. Courtyard is a sub-world with a bush mage and a clock that strikes down every 5 minutes. Discussion. Is there any discussion about this? There is no text. Alright, well, I think we did everything we could. Unless if you,
What's... Okay, let me... How do we get the badges, though? There's 2 others.
Loading point and subworld with seemingly no use itself. It has a pool and a screensaver, along with search, out, paths, all lead to dead end. What makes no sense to me is the swamp world. No, beginning. Welcome. So we have subworld's characters. This NPC was removed. Okay. May 15, 2025, wiki update. This is insane. Badges. Unlockable badges. The brightest stars fade the fastest. Wait, those are the 2. Wait. I see void? No. There's more than that though, right? There's more.
I think we're completed.
Yeah, I think that's a GG. We should hop on Overwatch.
You wanna hop on Overwatch? Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Alright, Alt F4.
Top 4. I might take a BRB real quick, though.
Okay. Overwatch 2. Change my...
It's just through gates, through doors, through hatches, through portals, most potent. The hell? Okay, everyone. I'll take a BRB.
I'm a BRB too. I'm a little hungry. A little hungry. If you will. Get something to snack on. Ooh, I know something to snack on. Alright. Alright. Be right back.
BRB chat. Hello? I'm back.
Welcome back.
We're so back.
What did you get?
I ate.
Yes, you did.
Whatchamacallit? Beef stick. Nom, nom, nom,
Oh.
nom. I'm on the wrong scene.
Oh, yummy.
Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam.
Make sure you change your stream to
Overwatch?
Overwatch.
I already did. I think
When
so.
you're
Anyway.
on. Nah.
Let me check to make sure it actually changed. Yes, it changed.
I don't have the heart.
Do I have Chateau? Chateau, are you up? You are. Very good.
Oh, I'm getting this.
What'd you do?
I got something pretty funny. You have to
Stadium
wait to see if
in this economy.
I play. You want to play Stadium?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Oh man, we need baby Sentry, but never mind.
Enter the stadium.
Enter the stadium.
Chat, I've been playing Ash. I like Ash. I like Ash. Yeah.
I'm a Dark Queen main. This is what it is.
It is what it is.
I kind of suffer sometimes. Kind of don't. Here or there.
We play a little Overwatch.
Whoa.
What's going on?
Get rewards by watching MF Goober. Come on, chat. Just watch my stream.
You have drops enabled?
I do.
Fire. Oh.
I'm gonna go chop. I'm not talking about chop suey. My bad. I got too chilly.
What's going on? What?
Move in and cut him down.
And cut him down. Do not panic. Wait. Does anyone remember what perk I got? I remember. I remember certain things. Oh god. Okay, chat. I'm not warmed up. So don't judge me. I'm also a little laggy, but it's okay.
No. It was one shot.
Oops. Got him. Help me, Mercy. Oops. I missed my 3 dynamite. Oh. I'm gonna have to turn down my settings for this stream.
Jeez. Oh, I know what you mean.
Murky. Thank you, Murky.
Finally.
No Vankada. Oh my
Not
god.
anymore, bud.
Babe, you clicked him up. Okay, hold on. Let me have... Nice. Let's see here. Gameplay. No. Video.
It's insane that she's a flying character. Do you have a soldier? No. What's a soldier? I mean, what's her name? Reaper?
Creeper? Oh man.
Right. Reaper her. Oh man, I was gonna use. I literally said, "Oh man." Anyway, I was gonna use my ult, but I don't think that was a good idea.
Oh. Okay, I think I might have to cap my frame rate. Oh.
Is it unlimited?
Yeah. Well, it kind of was. Apply. Okay.
Oh lord.
There we go. Just for streaming purposes. Because when it tanks, it hurts.
It does.
It's still
tanking?
It's still skipping a little bit.
Was there 2 Moiras? No, there were just 2 characters that looked the same.
We won. Oh! Thank you for the follow! You scared the heck out of me! Whatever your name was, thank you. It started with an S. Another S. S. Thank you. That's all I got to say. Please stay around. You came at a really bad time. Well, actually a good time, but also a bad one. Because my frames are trying to focus on this fucking Fuck, we're dead this time.
I didn't get a lot of money this game. This is so freaked. It's all hugged. On God. I'm gonna have my keyboard strokes out. Let's win. Oh.
Oopsie.
Okay.
Thank you, Murky.
What is happening? Jesus.
My frames
That's enough
tanked.
of that.
Still got it. I've still got it. Soldier said the thing. Still got it.
Visor on me?
What?
Visor on me?
Visor on me? You guys see this? I've got these 2 corners unlocked. If they peek, they're dead. Oh. Oh. I set her on fire. Hey. But it didn't kill her.
No, come here.
Oopsie. The build isn't online, like, that's not why. That's why. The build's not online. Next round when the build's online. Let me handle it. Baby, got that. Oh.
No. No. They really hated me for real. They said, "Oh, you like playing video games?"
Help! I'm on the point. I thought I might completely missed her. She's on fire. I have nothing to save my life with. Oh. Wait.
Hey, guys,
Wait, Mercy. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you.
Damn. We're really kicking ass, huh? Good job, team.
Good job, team. Check out the spray. Yeah. What the hell is going on over here? What? Hello. I got Bob. Bob. I get the idea. Wait. Where are they?
On my screen. We'll be kind of low key chilling.
Insane flick.
I was literally just chilling with them. I didn't even do anything the whole match. I was just.
Oh. Chat. Clip that. Oh my god. I don't have any words. We were playing 2 different games there, babe.
Yeah, you have to go through. We have to go back to my. You just have to go back to the VOD. It's insane.
We're gonna. I think we're gonna watch VODs after this stream. Holy moly.
What did I do?
Well, maybe.
No, you're gonna definitely have to watch the VOD.
Definitely have to.
You have to peek it because what I did was probably an atrocity. I was just doing nothing.
You're broke. We're both broke.
What happened, right? Is like I was just chilling, and like I ulted, or no, I think I ulted. No.
Yes. No.
I killed the Moira, and then I turn around, all of my team is dead, and like Zyra is just kind of chilling, and I'm just like, oh, okay. See how chill everyone. See, this is some chill. This is a chill lobby. This is a chill lobby. This is fucked up. At least it's positive.
It's
so,
in character.
No, I get it. I'm joking.
That was also for the chat to know.
What's happening?
Bakudeku slime.
Bakudeku slime. Bakudeku slime.
She's gonna pass away.
Same.
You're fine. They're all on fire. Did you get her? Did you get her? Yeah, there
you go. This is some riveting gameplay, guys.
I'd say.
Thank you. Gameplay's awesome too. I think it's awesome. Sound awesome.
No, I'll have to show you what you were going through and what I were going through. What completely different things. It was so silly. Oh, I'm getting bullied. Who let her do that?
How are you live? Soldier. Hold up, let me tweak.
Bruh, if my frames didn't drop, I would have killed that Mercy.
Ah, no mercy.
GG. We went plus ultra. We are also streamed.
Except the easy guy. We all know you're awesome. Wow. Message to us, just us. I feel so sigma.
I feel so sigma and
and awesome. Again! Bravo! Again! Baby Century video.
This is my baby Century video. Chat, you're gonna love this. Chat, watch this. But also, check out this new Widow skin. Very nice. Okay. Everyone saw it? Look at this, chat. You just stare. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Is it Battle Pass, methinks?
Yeah, it's the teacher.
She's the principal, actually, methinks. Put some respect on her
bean?
name.
Yes. My bad. After shooting an Omnic in the head, I don't know if I could. Human, Omnics, and Obsidian. What? What?
Obsidians?
Obsidians? Like my boy, Winton. Hey, guys. Hold up. I got the best voice acting for him. Hey, guys, it's me, Winston. I'm gonna go White Cat. Come on, guys. Let's win the game. Everyone knows we're the best in... It can't rhyme game. Come on, guys. Let's win the game. Everyone else is really lame.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
We're gonna rise to fame.
And we won't have... And we'll put our enemies in shame.
Dishonor to your family. Dishonor to your cow.
Keyboard cow debut. Alright, time to power up. So study more. I wanna do the when I do it, what I'm thinking about you. And then I think about you. Hey, we're kind of mashing. I have white and blue and pink. You have white and blue and... Ow.
Yeah, those are like colors.
Brown now, brown cow. Hey!
Okay, I have Franklin now. Franklin, you gonna give us a buff?
Break buff.
120%! Going even further beyond! United Smash.
Oh, it's a diva.
I know.
Diva.
It's horrible. We hate diva. I'm playing against diva. I mean. She's on fire. She lived?
I don't know how.
Ooh. Get away from me, freak! I got her! Come. Get her! Do not come.
Do not come. I don't know where the soldier is, but he's right here. How did she get back up again?
She's little! She's just a baby. Frank is getting up. He's like, this is too much excitement.
This is too much. This is too much.
Did you get him? You wait for me?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh my god, the Junkrat traps are absolutely Disgusting.
Nice. I smoked that guy on accident.
No,
No, I did it very much on purpose.
Exactly.
I did it on purpose. Yeah.
You did it on purpose.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I have Bob. Bob, do something.
Real?
Frank, I need you to simmer down. I got the Mercy on fire. Oh, we're nerfing this. Oh, I went 1v1 with the name botter. We don't need to watch that. Wait. It's okay, I got bot for next team fight. It's okay.
The way she came up to me and executed me was so sad. I wonder if this is gonna get anyone.
It will get one. Nope.
Aww. Dang, she ate all of my rockets.
Oh no, I should have waited for beat. Oh no. Mercy, 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 please, 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 Mercy! Mercy!
I low-key don't know what's happening. I should have saved my ult for boy.
Oh, and then they beated my Bob. For real. Actually, beated him.
Beat him to
his
death?
Ass. Yes.
No. Don't use ult for no reason.
Is that what we learned?
Yeah, that's what we learned.
You're like,
Don't
I feel like
use
this is gonna get someone.
Yeah, I was like very confident. I was like, yeah.
It was the first round. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? You're right. It's the first round.
Who gives a flip? You know.
Thanks, honey.
Anybody giving flips? Any flip givers? No. Okay.
I don't think it's any flip. We're being chilly.
Being chilling. What percentage is my mouse at? Oh, she's yellow.
Oh no.
Ah, wait, yellow. That's orange.
Oh. I think oh.
Orange is awfully close to red.
Orange is the new yellow.
Is it?
No. My bad. Me when I accidentally gaslight.
Me when I lie.
Me when I lie.
Oh,
thanks,
I
guys.
A-pose now.
Oh, we're in the match where you A-pose.
Yep.
That was a good fire, by the way. You almost got him.
I really did. I'm being doped by the Ever? I was gonna say the Widow. No, that's not quite right. She's out, she's out, she's out, she's baby. Get her, get her, get her. Lucio's chasing you.
That's what happens when you try to chase me, silly. And then she got the res on her. Hey guys, do we have any mercies?
These guys are a little silly. Where the fuck is Bob?
Hey guys, I played Ring Around a Rosie with the diva. I'm back now.
Nice. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. We got the oh, there's a Lucio. There we go. I keep forgetting names. Like, who's who? Oh, that's a lot of damage. Yes, a lot of damage.
Oh, my frames. I can't.
Nerf this.
I can't. Can I get a
You're
res?
telling me.
Come on, Mercy. You'll do it. Do it. It's so safe. It's such a safe res. No. Wait.
Oh my god. Welcome to orbit.
Oh. Get him. Hell yeah. Behind you, there is quite a few people. What are these guys doing? I'm coming to you.
I kind of just held off the robot as long as I could.
Will they chase? They are chasing. Oh, mother sucker.
Oh, please.
Nice.
Damn, he did the mini beat.
Fuck. She got Diva back. Oh my god. I have Bob. If I can get back in time. Holy moly. Bob! Jesus, that was such a long respawn.
Oh, it's so much, like... They booped him in the corner. I got the Mercy, though.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Mercy! No! No! No!
They still... No, we still have time.
Go! That's not gonna do fucking anything.
Baby Diva.
Oh.
Baby Diva in the corner over here. She's got mech again.
Jesus, everyone is getting ult so fast. Oh man. That was tough. I probably should have just kept high ground and shot down from there, but I just kept running to the point. I don't really know. I don't really know what was the correct play to do. Probably just keep high ground to pick people, but I don't know. You can't trust people to run to point.
Real.
Don't listen to them, babe. They always give the tanks advice and they're always wrong.
I need this. I need that. Need to get some bitches. Stop talking to me. Why is it always that I gotta do? You ever thought about that? Yeah, like why do I gotta do something? How about you do something?
Who is talking? Juno.
I think I did a bad. I think I did a bad build. What was my build?
What are you building, babe?
Rockets.
That's a good build.
Yeah, but I don't have
Peek
any
again.
defense. I went to straight.
Oh, I'm
I
on
went straight
fire.
damage.
That bitch is down there. Oh, he's dead. I mean, he's alive. I'm dead.
Let's try this again. Yeah, I have no tank. I should have bought something that lets me live a little bit.
Oh, Bob. When the fuck did Bob get here?
Did I get the res off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. He's just so skinny.
Like, why is the Demace like?
Oh, she ate my dynamite. Oh!
Okay, well I got both. I got two people. All right.
Find us? Oh,
You
that was
did
so
go to
cute.
us, partner. You done bit the dust.
Get him, get him. Yeah. She's on fire again.
Got him.
Who's over here?
My God, my rockets. I can finally kill with my rocket.
Damn. Ow.
Ouch.
Oh god. Oh god!
How?
How did that get me? I was ages away. It's okay.
I don't know how that got me. It was Turner, man. What a weird alt.
Shit.
We lost
Oh
the game?
shit.
Okay, we didn't.
Well, this is reverse sweep time. I can feel it.
Oh, yeah, I feel it.
I can feel it.
I can feel it. I can feel it. Yep. I'm with you.
Uh-huh.
It's time for Clash. Should we go back to our music, or should we go back to our music?
Oh, I've been listening.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'll invite you. I'm so
one of those
sorry.
days.
It's just one of those days. I turned the music back on when we BRB'd.
You're so real. I should have thought of that.
Chat, was that the smartest thing to do? Maybe not. So if we buy this and this and this, that gets us to 75. But if we just buy this, we get 65. So we could get 10 more ability power if we just use our money wise. Or we do that and this. 65. It's the same! Oh, and it's better. Yeah. Good job, chat. We figured it out.
Join. There we go.
Ooh, that is quite nice. Bam, bam. Help me. Thank you.
I love this game!
Yay! She's on fire.
Who?
She's in a heal.
Oh, she kept running away.
Don't pick that.
Whoa, how? I was already... It landed!
Where the hell? What the hell? I'm so confused of what just happened. But my Bob's getting kills on point, so. You win this. Oh.
Unfortunately, I don't because that their tank is tankier.
Where'd that dynamite go? Goodness gracious, I'm touching. I'm on fire. What the hell? Bob's not on point.
I got Ash at least.
Oh! I just sat up in my chair. This is getting serious.
I'm literally fighting for this win, man.
We need to group up. Do I touch? Or do we stay here?
No.
Okay, okay.
Do not touch.
We'll get next point. We didn't lose the objective, we let them have it. Get it right, stadium announcer. Oh! That bitch. That was a really fast respawn. Did anyone else notice that? Insane work.
Anyone notice this?
La la la. La la la. Oh no. That's a recipe for disaster.
Oh no, man. That's so unfortunate. We're literally so close to winning.
That's okay. GG's. GG's, GG's. WPGG.
I wonder what that means. 20? I went down 20? No way.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Wait. I think I got Pog. What? What? Oh, God. Maybe not. Maybe yes. What is this?
Ooh, a legendary crate. I hope I get something good from this. As I get a legendary. It's a Bastion legendary. The game fell off. Be reasonable. This game fell off.
Be reasonable.
It's not even a good. I mean, it's alright skin. It's not like it's like not even like it's a good skin. Let's see. What skins have I gotten recently? There's recently something quite nice.
Chat.
So why
What are we
does Junker
thinking?
Queen?
Oh. Franklin. Chat, you see this? So much cash. No idea what to spend it on. What do we want? What are we thinking? Ramatra skin? You're so right, chat.
Ooh, that was a yeah. Whoever said that? They know what they're talking about.
Who got the... Who's the new character? Venture? Venture... Didn't they get a
No.
dance?
No, Venture is not the new character. Freya. Whatever. Freya.
Was it? Yeah, Freya is the new one. But... Yo, Joe.
I don't know why she said Yojo like that. I'm kind of confused. Yo, Joe. This is what happens when you go. This is what happens when you go. What is it called? When I don't go drunk, I'm not allowed to have fun.
That's so real. Chat, do you want Junkrat gameplay? Or Ash gameplay? I think Junkrat. Let's switch it up. Junkrat.
I don't think that's what he sounds like. Let me.
No, it's the stadium announcer. He goes, "It's Junkrat."
Are you sure? I thought it would have been more like, "Hey guys, it's Junkrat in the game."
No.
He doesn't say that? I thought he just say it like that.
That's how you say it.
No.
Yes.
What the helly? Come on. You're not giving. Come on.
What?
Come on. Damn. What?
What? Yeah.
Maybe relax a little.
I'm relaxing.
If you think about it, he wasn't he's not actually he's not crazy. He just has music constantly playing in his head.
You? Sugma?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like
No, he's crazy, babe. He's crazy.
If you think about it, he's just like music playing in my ears, and then he just unlocked the gravity powers.
Okay. Oh, I just lit a fire under your head.
How'd you do that?
I didn't mean to.
Can't believe you.
My fault.
Let's win this game.
Yeah. Yeah. We got hello. Hey.
What is this power?
Youch! All I do is peek and I get hit. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Let's set down a trap. Because I never do that. They destroyed my trap. You guys like this Junkrat gameplay? I'm just spamming. That's how you play Junkrat.
Baller!
Baller. See? Look, it works.
I'm lagging a little
Sigma
bit.
has harnessed the harness. Did you?
Yeah, I'm lagging a little bit.
We got him.
Ouch.
Do they have a Murky? No. We don't have to worry about res. That's good. Res is just way too good to not have.
Who likes to play ball?
Who wants to play with my balls?
I just
That's what
killed
she
her
said.
with. No!
Whoop you!
I suffered the same consequence.
Oh.
The righteous, what's it called? Karma comes back. I reap what I sow. I pushed her off the edge and I was pushed. Man, this music kind of chipper.
Yeah, it's great for the mental.
Who pushed them forward?
Me. Sorry. It was my concussive minds. I was trying to do more damage to him and it moved him.
Yeah, it's okay, honey. After this happens. Welcome to reality.
No, not like this. Oh, I got him. Surprise!
Oh, hey, your thing worked.
my
Your trap. Good job, babe.
It's
so
all
proud
part
of
of the
you.
plan. It's all part of the plan.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Watch. There was someone on left of soldier, 1 HP, about to touch, but the game ended, so we're good.
I think the highlight is just you getting that round. That was a good trap.
I killed the ulting Cass, and then I
saw
took
that.
my
Saw
tire and I blew up the Ash because I fucked that Ash, I guess. And then my trap got a reset after she killed me.
My points say 420. But yeah.
Nice.
You're just
I just know what's up.
Huh?
I'm perked up. Honestly. I'm off the perk. No, I'm on the perk.
No, I'm off. You're off the perk. You're locked in.
I'm perked up.
You're perked up and ready.
Armed and dangerous, some would say.
We never played that game. Never happened. It was a blip in the universe.
We blipped.
We blipped. Never played. Never happened. This
I kind of miss it.
And we can go back to it if you ever want to.
We're gonna be so ass. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, how are we gonna get the plat? We
Never.
can go on our accounts. I only play Storm and you only play Loki.
Loki's actually really good. I just need to harness the harness. You know?
Yeah, I believe you.
Oh! Cooked! They're cooked! They're cooked! Go! Push!
I'm just listening to your words. Don't let them push us. Oh, I should be. Oh, all the pain in the world.
A cat's one. Cat's dead. Kelp. Junkrat needs kelp.
Ballin'.
You're harness to harness, babe.
Baller. Thank you.
What the hell? What is she doing up there?
I low-key kind of want to edit the VOD.
You can have both POVs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not recording. If I'm on YouTube, I'm not recording.
Oh.
I don't want to. But I'll just use the VOD.
Oh! Who said that?
The
Ash.
Ash.
Who is she pissed at? You?
Me.
What did you do?
I saw a 2-piece in the back.
I got the one hit Moira.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that gonna... The robot gonna get that? Oh! I went flying.
I look, now want to kind of target her. I just. That's insane. If that box was in the way.
Insane. Who's fun? Oh, Moira. They apologize. That's good. You relate greatly to that. It's true backslash. Don't put me. Worse.
I was gonna say something, but that's not. That's TOS. That's
What is it? Wait, it's TOS. You're the DM
If you
me.
remind me, if you remind me later, I'll
Okay. Oh, that explodes. I'm okay. I have to get in there. I got a quick melee ability. Oh, maybe I should get like tank stuff. That's actually smart. My brain's on all 4 cylinders.
Cylinders?
Yeah. I got him. I got him.
Heroes never die?
Where are they? Let me at him. Oh, she's dead. Okay, okay. I couldn't get out.
Alright, guys. And he just ulted.
It's okay.
Man, this shield is pissing me off.
This shit pissed me off for real, for real. I can't lie.
On God.
Chester! 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 Res me!
Oh, what is happening?
Help! Wait, the soldier's eating him up?
You gotta get a point back, guys. I don't know why, but...
Touch the point.
Just kill the Ash. It's, oh.
Got it! Bob's gonna get me, though. Guys! Guys! I need this Moira to lock in. Please, 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 please.
Lock in every...
Even Mercy's pissed off.
Damn. Being called out. No mommy's way.
No mommy's way. Let's sell this. And then I wanted... I did want the trap one. But that takes all of my points. So I was thinking maybe...
I get it. I get it, babe. Babe, I get it.
What are you getting?
Okay, so if I got Maestro, ultimate cost reduction, and then if I get Maglev multiplier, if I get people in my flux, a little loud. For me.
Ooh. Okay, good. Trust the process. Is that what it said? Yeah. No. Trust the progress. No, process. Trust. Chat, I need you to trust me.
I'm trusting.
I need to get in there.
Can you get in and get active?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Stop sucking me! No, not the boob! Res me? Thank you. Cheers!
Cheers. Baller.
Oh! Go, men.
Baller. I can't get more baller than this.
We're balling.
Okay, so y'all just like died on a bad cooldown. Like now you're like off sync of your team.
So what happened?
Oh, they respawn really quickly because new round, I guess. My bad.
Oh! Holy! I'm ducking IRL. No one can see.
Oh god.
Oh my god, I'm cooked! I'm good! No, I'm cooked! Get Chester! Oh, thank you. We need point. I'm going in.
I'm sure Mercy can get the res.
She just res me. She just res me. No. It's okay, we get this point. More bombs. I hate this fucking shield. She's won. She's dead. Ooh! My Junkrat. Junkrat's not doing anything. My Junkrat. That's not what cats make.
No, it's more of like a meow. But hey, you know, that's this is it's getting progressively hard.
Hey yo.
Shut up! No, no one said that. It was not real. All an illusion. My mind's eye say, hubbabaloo, hubbabaloo.
What to do? What to do? I forgot I did that. Oopsies.
Oops.
Oops. Dipstick.
Did you hear Mercy?
What'd she say?
She said, "You called?" No.
You called?
I haven't had my morning coffee.
It's so tempting to punch the walls, but now I have an ability that explodes when I punch, so I can't. I can't just punch.
Oh my god, I forgot. I should have done health check.
Health check.
But like, I don't know. Does Mercy have? No, she's doing damage boost, so it's just weird.
She's doing damage boost?
Which is weird because it's like I get that like, oh, you want me to do damage, but it's like get longer chain so you can heal me, so you don't have to go in the fight, so I can keep going. This is fun. I can't carry any harder than this, man.
Jeepers. It's okay. But I think throwing myself in there was a good tactic. I just need to get better at cooldown usage, but, you know, what can you do? Rough, rough, rough.
Baller.
Wait. I got a big brain.
Asher's almost dead.
Hello?
She's fully dead. Damn.
We got this. We got this, guys. I know the fabric of the cosmos. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, oh, oh. Oopsie. I don't know what the hell just happened, but we got put. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. It's okay. We got your ult. We got Moira ult. We got Mercy ult. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
All you have to do is lift them up off the robot, and we win. That's it.
Yeah, but you have to understand, babe. My thing's small.
She's trapped. Oh. I'm on my way back.
Jesus.
Let's go!
13k damage.
Let's go! You're crazy.
13k damage, but guess what? It's gonna. Thank God. I was gonna say if it gives it to the song, stealing my kill. I don't care what anyone is saying. That soldier does not deserve it.
No.
His bum.
Bum.
I guess I can go Phantasmic's Flux because that's gonna help me a lot. I can get rid of that.
I got burned for trap.
Kinetic Grasp. Burn Trap is Burn Trap from the hit game Five Nights at Freddy's. R. Hohelator. Freddy Fazbear. Dealing weapon damage negates the target's ability attack speed. Increase your attack speed more. I like to siphon from my enemies. Why not? I feel devilish. The universe.
The universe is singing to me.
I got all purples.
Purple.
The purple guy. I think I'm the purple guy. You don't know that.
Oh.
You know, purple
guy? The from FNAF?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. I know a little bit about FNAF. Purple. She's I'm so dead. Its support's dead.
Yeah, the barrier is making me tweet.
I hate the barrier.
And I can't do more damage to barriers because if I had something that said, "Oh, damage to barriers," like, oh, but I'm looking at there's nothing that says do more damage to barriers. It's like it's frustrating. It's quite sick and evil. Baller.
Ooh. Mercy, you're on top of a dynamite? Okay, she got off of it. What is that melody? How is he doing that again? The helly? Oh, guys, what am I doing? I'm cooked. Come in. Get him, babe. Get him.
I got one. I'm gonna die.
You're good? This. I can't live. I run in
Like
and die.
what do I do?
Oh yeah, they all. Hmm.
What's the experimental barrier? Kinetic grasp. Where's Where's my kinetic grasp things? Like, where's that? Kinetic grasp. Kinetic grasp duration. Maybe I just need to get more duration on that. Maybe I need more attack speed. If I forsaken it. What can I get? It's like I'm doing everything I can. It's like to barriers. There we go. Okay. And I can't shoot to do anti-heal. So if I had anti-heal, that'd be
Mm.
great.
Nice.
Baller.
Oh. Someone's in the trap.
And you have it again? And what the fuck are you doing behind me?
What the
Like,
fuck
what
are
is
you doing behind
happening?
me? I don't
It's like,
know.
why is the McCree behind me?
Oh, she faded out of it, that lucky bitch. Holy moly.
Jesus Christ. I'm
What
doing
the
10k
hell?
damage!
Already. Already. Is that real beat or little beat?
Real beat.
How the hell?
Oh my god.
No! Is my trap down? My trap's down. How does he have it again?
I didn't even mean to do that baller
Nice,
play.
nice, nice, nice. Here, I'll get it.
Good stuff, babe. Good stuff, babe.
Massive, massive, massive. I finally did something good.
No, you always do something good.
But this game, I've been struggling hardcore. Oh! Nice, nice, nice. Let's go! Let's go! Insane match. Oh my god. This bitch stole it from you! I already know! I already know it's stolen. What? Oh, the Orisa. What is this guy's aim? Why does he have no like recoil? What's
Like,
going on?
it was all weird, just all funky. Jesus Christ, that game was the hardest we ever. I think we should call stream.
I think so too. I think that's GG's.
It's a good stream.
It's a long fucking stream. 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours? I think we did a good job.
I know. Well, so thanks guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for the nice stream. We'll have to do it again sometime.
I hope that sometimes in the near future.
I gotta play my outro music. Where is it?
What's your
Here
outro music?
This one. Well, you're not here.
Oh.
We play out to this song.
Is it Other Side by Minecraft?
Yes.
It's playing it right now.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, this shit's brokey on my side.
Spotify's been broken all day.
Bye.
What a nice song. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
I hope it doesn't crash.
Uh-oh.